To play or not to play? That is the question. Let me address the topic that is dominating NBA headlines and discussions right now. Players, and more specifically, stars, sitting out games to rest. First, a quick qualifier. This is not about players sitting out games over the last week or two of the regular seasons. Fans and everyone else understands that. This is about missing games for no good reason during the heart of the season. The issue has gotten so big that a few days ago, Commissioner Adam Silver sent a memo to the league's owners saying, quote, instances of teams resting players this season have increased substantially over last season, and this has become an extremely significant issue for our league. Those are strong words, and the reason Silver went to the owners instead of the players is because the league and executives on clubs that don't rest players believe the problem lies with the team's management and coaches rather than with the players. They believe the players want to play, and in most cases are just acquiescing to the wishes of GMs and head coaches who are caught up in the analytics regarding performance and health risks. For example, here's what LeBron had to say on the issue.
For me personally, I want to play in every game, and I wanted to play last night, but my coach, felt like it was best that I didn't play last night, so I'm going to go with my coach. He's never steered me wrong, so.
Silver said in his memo that the league will address this issue at the next Board of Governors meeting on April 6th. I like Adam, and because of that, I'm going to give him some advice. Nip this thing in the bud, pronto. Tell the owners in no uncertain terms to send the message throughout their organization. Product it can, the NBA will be sunk. But Chris, what about the science? All the sports science says the players are overworked and that playing too many games and minutes increases their chances of injury, or at the very least, reduces their productivity on the court. Here's what Spurs coach Greg Popovich had to say on that subject.
The league has to understand that the science of what we do is a whole lot more sophisticated than it used to be, and we have definitely added years to people. So it's a trade-off. You want to see this guy in this one game, or do you want to see him for 3 more years of his career?
Look, I don't claim to be a scientist, but I am calling hogwash, and here's why. Look, science says practically all of us are overworked and hindering our own ability to perform both physically and mentally at our top levels. Just last month, an article in the journal Social Science and Medicine read, and I quote, people who work more than 39 hours a week are putting their health at risk. 39 hours a week. That's you and me, bruh. But where's our rest? And we ain't getting paid millions of dollars either. Then there's this. The National Sleep Foundation says adults should sleep between 7 to 9 hours a night. How many of us do that? Not me, and probably not you, and you, and you. Heck, the Harvard Medical School has linked sitting all day at work to dementia, heart disease, and even premature death. But how many of you are sitting down right now listening to this podcast?
I never sleep, cause sleep is the cousin of death.
So don't buy those years. And Malone, who missed only 10 games his first 18 seasons, averaged 38 minutes a game as a 38-year-old. Kobe, Kevin Garnett, Jason Kidd, Reggie Miller, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I could go on and on.
Can't understand how I last so long.
Look, I know this is a tough issue to police, that if the league begins fining teams, or I guess players, for resting, that clubs will simply begin making up injuries like strained hamstrings, back spasms, upper respiratory infections. But still, there are things the league can do. Here are 4 possible solutions.
Eliminate back-to-back games on the road.
The NBA is already set to stretch out the season by starting it 7 to 10 days earlier in October. That'll allow it to cut down the number of 3 games in 4 nights and 4 games in 5 night stretches, as well as a number of back-to-backs. That's good. But perhaps it should start even earlier, maybe by another week or so, and eliminate back-to-back games on the road altogether. A study by the Utah School of Medicine found that players are 3.5 times more likely to be injured in a road back-to-back than in consecutive games at home. That's why stars tend to sit on the road. I say we make Team USA a 22 and under squad, not even an all-NBA squad. If an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old college kid like Lonzo Ball can make the team, then put him on the team. See, I'm still a bit miffed that our college stars got spanked by the world back in the late 80s and early 90s and even made it necessary for us to send our pros. Call me crazy, but I believe our college-age guys could now win gold. And if they don't, so what? Doesn't mean America no longer produces the world's best hoopers. Everybody knows we do. Plus, and more importantly, guys like LeBron and Carmelo and Draymond can relax during the summer so they'll be ready for a full 82 come October.
Rest during practice and get rid of morning shoot-arounds.
If a star player needs a break, give him that break on an off day. Let him walk through practice, just shoot jump shots, or watch from the sidelines altogether. Why is that so difficult to comprehend? And here's something even more radical. Do away with morning shoot-arounds. In case you didn't know, teams practice on the mornings of every game, except for the second game of back-to-backs. It's usually at about 10 a.m., so the entire team takes the bus to the arena, practices for 60 to 90 minutes, meets with the media, then they go back to the hotel or their house if it's a home game for about 4 hours before heading to the game. When you think about it, that makes no sense. It's the very definition of wasting time and wrecking rest. I know teams do it in part to keep guys from hanging out all night, but guess what? Some guys are hanging out all night anyway. Plus, if grown men can't be responsible enough to police themselves and their teammates, then so be it. Waste your talent, wreck your career, and lose your shot at millions of dollars. Otherwise, be a man and learn how to prioritize. Instead of morning shoot-arounds, why not have a pregame walkthrough at the arena? Leave the hotel a bit earlier than usual and have the players walk through their sets before the game. If an arena doesn't have a practice court the visiting team can use, then in that case, maybe you have a morning shoot-around. But eliminating many of those morning practices on game days would go a long way in getting players the rest the science says they need.
Silver might have to lay down the law.
Adam Silver understands that perception is reality. And if players continue to sit out games, many fans' perception could become that the stars don't care about them or the regular season. It could also lead to conspiracy theories. I've never been one to buy into those when it comes to the NBA, but it wouldn't take much imagination to wonder if Cavs coach Tyronn Lue sat his 3 stars against the LA Clippers to help out his mentor, Doc Rivers. The Clippers are struggling big time, and Doc might be fighting for his job. A suspicious fan wouldn't have to stretch too hard to ask why that they cannot kill the Golden Goose. Don't give the fans, the sponsors, or the networks any reason to question your commitment to them or the game. Because if it wasn't for those 3 parties, and he can't say this, but I can, you just be a bunch of cats running around playing basketball. So if you're healthy, play, whether your GM or coach wants you to or not. If the league wants to ignore my advice and instead choose the science, then by all means, choose the science. Have the science tell you what the optimum number of games for the regular season is, because apparently 82 is too much, and reduce the schedule accordingly. After all, When the league went to 82 games in 1967, it didn't have all this technology and it didn't know any better. So if the human body, even the best conditioned, most athletic human bodies, can only take 65 games a year, then so be it. But just be ready to accept 65 games worth of money instead of 82. Fans, you should do whatever it takes to get this message across to the league. 82 games of pay equals 82 games of play if you're healthy.
And if you don't know, now you know.